Soon may the wellerman come to bring us sugar and tea and rum. One day when the stripping is done, we'll take our leave and go. Welcome to Rogue Mother Rising. Today is February 4th, 2026. And I've been thinking about institutional drift. I'm not even sure I understand what that was. So I went ahead and put it into my ChatGPT. And I'm going to go ahead and start the screen recorder. Screen is on. Okay, so I wanted to ask some questions about institutional drift. And I did some research about it. Anyways, I landed on doing this video with ChatGPT's help. Thank you, ChatGPT. Okay, so I posted on ChatGPT the open Facebook post that they had posted to their wall. And at ... our job isn't to decide what experiences are appropriate for the adults we support. It is to stand beside them as they explore the world in a safe, supported, and respectful ways. That means honoring their rights as adults, even when their choices push the comfort zones of those around them. Recently, a small group of individuals independently expressed interest in visiting a local strip club. While this may be surprising to some, it is important to understand this is not a calendar activity or something offered to all participants. This is not a large group discussion or general opportunity. This was a specific, rights-based support provided only to those who clearly and independently voiced interest. And it was staffed with trained support to ensure safety, dignity, and choice every step of the way. Yes, it's a boundary-pushing activity, and that's exactly the point. Adults with disabilities have long been denied access to the full range of adult experiences under the assumption that they have a mind of a child. That is not language we use. It is inaccurate and erases the years of lived experience, emotional growth, and autonomy of each person holds. Our role is not to restrict their lives to what we personally find comfortable. It is to support them in building their lives on their terms. This isn't about encouraging anyone to do something they're unsure of. It's about making sure that when someone does want to explore an adult experience, they don't have to do it alone, unsafely, or in secret. We are not here to gatekeep adulthood. We are here to support it with dignity, informed choice, and a commitment to real, inclusive lives. As always, if you have questions or concerns, we welcome respectful conversations. Growth doesn't happen inside comfort zones, and that includes all of us. And I have some private emails I'll be reading too, but right now we're going to focus on this institutional drift. Okay. Thank you for pasting the exact text, because I forgot to paste it when I first posted my question. I'm going to answer you carefully, clearly, and grounded in organ policy and systems language, because your instinct matters here, and you're not reacting emotionally, you're reacting structurally. Short answer first. Yes, this post is a textbook example of institutional drift. It does not automatically prove abuse, but it demonstrates drift that increases the risk of abuse and exploitation, and it reframes accountability in a way organ policy does not intend. Now I'll show you how and why step by step. Why this is institutional drift, not just a disagreement. Institutional drift shows up when systems redefine their role. shifts responsibility away from themselves, uses value-based language to avoid safeguards, treats safety concerns as comfort issues. That is exactly what's happening here. Line by line where drift appears. Our job isn't to decide what experiences are appropriate. Drift signal number 1, redefining duty. Under Oregon's ODDS policy, providers absolutely do decide what activities they can facilitate. Providers are required to assess risk, mitigate foreseeable harm, refuse to facilitate activities that exceed safe support boundaries. Reframing their role as only standing beside, not evaluating appropriateness, is a withdrawal from duty, not empowerment. That's institutional drift. As they explore the world in safe, supported, and respectful ways. Dreadnought SIF number 2. Safety asserted, not demonstrated. Notice, no mention of capacity assessment, no mention of risk mitigation specifics, no mention of financial or sexual exploitation safeguards, no mention of ODDS's incident thresholds. Safety is claimed, not explained. In systems drift, safety becomes a word, not a process. Honoring their rights as adults, even when their choices push the comfort zones around them. Drift signal number 3, reframing concern as discomfort. This is critical. My concern is about coercion, power imbalance, staff facilitation, and systemic risk. The post reframes it as people being uncomfortable. That's classic drift behavior. Safety objections are reclassified as emotional resistance. A small group independently expressed interest. Drift signal number 4. Independently is asserted and not substantiated. Oregon policy requires decision-specific capacity assessment, documentation of understanding, freedom from coercion, and that post offers no evidence of how independence was assessed, how group influence was ruled out, how staff suggestion was excluded. In drift, intent is assumed instead of evaluated. I don't know if they did any of those things. I'm guessing they didn't because they said that they basically threw caution to the wind and made it happen with no thoughts to risk mitigation. They didn't, try to calm any parents' concerns at all, and neither did anybody else. So that's why I'm making these videos. I'm going to calm my concerns, or at least have my concerns heard. Okay. This is not a calendar activity, not offered to all participants. Important, this does not eliminate risk. This language attempts to neutralize criticism, but even individualized activities require risk mitigation. Even one-on-one facilitation can be inappropriate. Even non-calendar events must comply with ODDS rules. This is scope minimization, another drift tactic. Staffed with trained support to ensure safety, dignity, and choice. Drift signal number 5, trained without defined limits. Oregon policy does not allow staff facilitation of sexualized commerce, staff involvement in power imbalanced sexualized environments, staff acting as protective presence in inherently exploitive venues. Training does not override role boundaries. Drift happens when training is used to justify boundary erosion. Boundary pushing activity, and that's exactly the point. This is the clearest drift marker in the entire post. Oregon policy does not endorse boundary pushing as a goal, risk escalation as a value, and exposure as growth. Risk is meant to be identified, reduced, monitored. When pushing boundaries becomes the position that the institution has drifted from protection, when pushing boundaries becomes the point, the institution has drifted from protection to experimentation. Hell yeah. They have the mind of a child. That is not language we use. This is Strawman. I haven't even heard of Strawman. You did not argue that. Oregon policy does not require that framing. What? This is a strawman. You did not argue that. Oregon policy does not require that framing. This section discredits critics by implying they are demeaning clients, avoids the real issue. Capacity is decision specific. Conflates developmental disability with infantilization. That rhetoric move is classic institutional defense drift. All right, next. So they don't have to do it alone, unsafely, or in secret. This is where drift dangerously approaches abuse risk. Providers are not responsible for ensuring adults have company for sexualized activities, preventing secrecy in adult exploration, making risky experiences feel normalized. The statement subtly claims if we don't do it, they'll do it unsafely. That logic pressures staff involvement. Justifies facilitation, removes the option of refusal. This is how systems create harm while claiming prevention. We are not here to gatekeep adulthood. False framing. Providers are not gatekeepers of adulthood. They are gatekeepers of what Medicaid-funded paid support may facilitate. This line erases duty of care, mandatory reporter status, power imbalance. That erasure equals institutional drift. Drift versus abuse. Where this currently sits. This post shows institutional drift, role redefinition, accountability dilution, safety replaced with values language. It does not alone prove intentional abuse, criminal conduct, but it does create foreseeable risk, conditions where exploitation can occur, documentation that may matter later. Drift is often the precondition for abuse. Why my reaction is justified. I didn't object because I'm uncomfortable, I deny autonomy, or immoralize sexuality. I objected because paid providers crossed into facilitation, power dynamics were ignored, safeguards were replaced with ideology, Oregon policy was selectively quoted in spirit, not substance. That is not emotional. That's systems literacy. One sentence I can safely say or use in a video. This response shows institutional drift, where responsibility shifts from safeguarding to values language, and safety concerns are reframed as discomfort rather than addressed through policy. So, please like my video, hit the thumbs up. It'll help the algorithm because, as you can tell, not too many people are interested in my concerns, but that's okay. I'm going to keep stating them because I want them changed. And my voice will be here as documented proof, as my testimony, as a mother that has raised disabled kids for over 40 years, and to be put in my place by people that are probably younger than my kids is not going to happen. I'm going to speak out. I'm going to speak loud and I'm going to speak proud and I'm going to speak for all the parents that are coming up after me. Because if it's getting like this now for me, I can only imagine what it's going to be like for you. They closed the institutions without a thought to proper care for adults with developmental disabilities. They're not getting safely cared for. I'm caring for my son, he's my son. But a lot of people don't have the ability to take care of their kids. Okay, so that's institutional drift for you. See you on the next voyage. Ahoy.